In 1986, Barry Minkow stared out from the cover of national magazines as a 21-year-old self-made millionaire CEO. Wall Street called him a genius. Investors called him the future. Every word, every number, was a lie. It started in a garage in Reseda, California, in 1982. Barry Minkow was 16, broke, and hungry. He rented a carpet cleaning machine for $50 and knocked on doors in his neighborhood. He called his company ZZZZ Best, a name chosen so that it would appear last in the phone book, guaranteeing anyone flipping to the end would see his name one final time. Barry had a gift. He could walk into any room and make adults believe him. At 17, he walked into a bank and convinced a loan officer to give ZZZZ Best a business loan. Even though the company was barely breaking even, he didn't lie about everything. He just left out the parts that mattered. By 1984, real carpet cleaning revenue wasn't enough to cover Barry's growing debts. So he forged his first document, a fake insurance restoration contract for a job that never happened. He invoiced it, collected the money, and used it to pay back earlier lenders. The machine had started spinning. To scale the fraud, Barry needed a partner. He found Tom Padgett, a stocky insurance adjuster in his late 30s who agreed to fabricate official-looking insurance restoration contracts for buildings that ZZZZ Best had never touched. Padgett's signature made the forgeries look legitimate. Together, they invented entire jobs and invoiced them to insurance companies. In December 1986, ZZZZ Best went public. Barry Minkow, now 22 years old, became a self-made millionaire on paper. The stock soared. Wall Street celebrated. Magazine covers followed. But the company had almost no real revenue, just an endless chain of forged contracts and phantom insurance jobs. Every dollar of growth was manufactured. Barry's mother, Joyce, watched her sons rise from the pages of national magazines. She felt pride, but also a gnawing doubt. She had raised him to be honest. She knew his business had grown impossibly fast. In her heart, she sensed that something was very wrong. In early 1987, a Los Angeles Times reporter began asking questions. How had ZZZZ Best scaled so fast? Where were these insurance restoration contracts? He started pulling the thread. Every answer he got led to 3 more questions. The reporter visited the buildings listed on ZZZZ Best's largest insurance contracts. They'd never been damaged. No one had ever heard of ZZZZ Best. The jobs didn't exist. The company had fabricated hundreds of millions of dollars in fake revenue. The story broke in May 1987. ZZZZ Best's stock collapsed. Investors lost millions. Federal investigators moved in. Barry Minkow, the self-made millionaire CEO, was exposed as a fraud. In March 1988, at age 23, Barry Minkow was arrested and charged with massive securities fraud, wire fraud, and conspiracy. He was sentenced to 8 years in federal prison. The youngest self-made millionaire CEO in America was now inmate number, prison ID. Barry served his time in a federal prison. He had years to think about what he'd done, years to watch his name transform from genius to cautionary tale. He claimed he was reformed. He claimed he understood the gravity of his crimes. But that was not the end of his story. After his release, Barry Minkow reinvented himself. He became an ordained minister. He started a church called the Christ-Centered Kabbalah Center. He gave speeches about redemption and reform. He seemed like a changed man. But redemption was a lie. In 2007, investigators discovered that Barry Minkow had been running another scheme, a short-selling fraud targeting Lennar Corporation, a major home builder. He'd been spreading false and damaging information about the company to manipulate its stock price. He was doing to others exactly what he'd done 2 decades earlier. In 2011, Barry Minkow was convicted again, this time for the Lennar fraud. He was sentenced to 5 years in federal prison for a second felony. The reformed minister was revealed as a serial fraudster. Redemption, like everything else in his life, had been a performance. Barry Minkow's story is the story of American fraud at every scale. At 21, he sold lies to Wall Street and became a millionaire. At 50, he was still selling lies, just with a pastor's collar instead of a power suit. The con never stopped. Only the stage changed. This is the real story of Barry Minkow, the man who proved that you can fool Wall Street, fool America, and fool yourself into thinking you've changed. If you want to hear more true stories of deception, fraud, and downfall, please like this video and follow this page for more.